Okay, now we're live because we can't cuss in the first how many minutes or seconds? That's right, we can't do that, can we? We cannot do that. Let's go to live chat. Okay, I don't know if anyone. It's funny. I'm wearing my Barbie shirt here. We're here with Amber because she helps me with things and she's amazing. Even though I'm bad with I'm bad with cussing. Is that just you, Harding? Is that you in here, Amby? Oh, someone else is here. Open, action cannot be performed. Open in browser. We gotta open the chat here. Oh, there we go. Live chat. Hi, Shema. Hello. Hello. You were on the wrong live? Okay. Well, I'm going to turn you down because now you have to text me. Our Amber's on the other line. You just have to text me because then we'll get feedback. Hi, Joanna. Hi. And we're going live for 2 hours. I'm sorry, technical difficulty. And we're doing all chart readings. Wait, what the? I started and we had to start over because we were cussing. And YouTube gets mad if you cuss in the first several seconds of this stuff. So, hello. You say goodbye, I say hello. I'm wearing my Barbie shirt because I was. Hey, Amber, is it glitchy? Am I glitchy? Is this a delay? Am I on a delay, Amber? You're on a 10-second delay. Is that just because of the... But do I look glitchy? Do I look like I freeze while I'm talking? Hello? Amby. My darling. Amby. Does it look like I'm glitchy? Does it? Hello? Not glitchy. Wonderful. Thank you, Amber. Very cool. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I'm wearing my Barbie shirt today. I watched I got this at Old Navy. They had Barbie shirts. We were there buying my daughter's stuff. And I watched the Barbie movie last night for the first time, and I swear to God, I cried for like an hour straight. I mean, part of it was personal stuff. But then, like that scene where she goes to the real world and like dudes are catcalling her and stuff. And I was just thinking about all the time that I let dudes do stuff to me that I did not want done. And I let them do it because it was like it was just easier than saying hey or no or trying to hold to my boundaries. Anyway, we are accepting donations, of course, because this takes time and money to do. And we have super chats. We have super chats. We have super thanks. And I would really appreciate it if anyone is able. I would really appreciate it if anyone is able. But we'll start looking at things. And if anyone has Synastry, we'll look at that stuff too. You know. Because Synastry is fun. As everyone is pouring in, please like the stream. Amber's correct. Please like the stream. Like the stream. As they say in Ghostbusters, don't cross the streams. It would be bad. It would be bad. So, Amber, can you start arranging people's birth data? And we'll look at stuff. Oh, it looks like ZRE Music has Synastry. It looks like ZRE. I started thinking of NWA, but that's the DRE, right? Dre, not Zray. Turn my ringer up. Okay. Okay. Because I turned. Wait, what happened here? Okay. Okay. It's your end. Okay. I have my ringer up, Amber. You can start sending me stuff. Wonderful. Oh my god, and Saturn goes direct in like a week, next week. This is a big deal, you know, because when Saturn goes retrograde, it's oftentimes when we have to examine how we did, right? On a world scale, like on a macro level, it's typically challenges to the structure, you know? So you missed joining my live content. Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you're here. So Amber, why don't we pick someone to start? I'm going to do a video about Saturn going direct, but it's going to be quite interesting because while Saturn's been retrograde, the typical structure of things, at least in groups and nations and all this stuff, has been really sort of turned on its head and challenged, which typically happens. But in our lives, we often have to reflect on how we did. It's often a time where we don't accomplish a lot. And it really behooves us to think about what worked, you know. Saturn goes retrograde for about 4.5 to 5 or 6 months ish. And for that time, you know, we sort of consider what we could do better. So it could be a constructive time. It doesn't have to be all woe is me. So Amber, what's up? What's up? Can you send me birth data, Amber? Because it's hard with the really hard. It's hard. Sort of ironic saying that. There's only 10 viewers? That's... Oh well. Whatever. 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 And Pluto. Heck does that mean? So, well, we're live. Okay. Thank you, Shima. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll have to get to Shima right away. Thank you so much. I'm going to enter the data. The data, not the Dada. Dada is a type of art. Dadaism. Dadizzle. Oh, I have... I was listening to Brother Lynch songs, for anyone who knows Brother Lynch. And I was like, lope to the brain, insane, every day, all day, it's EBK. Open my texts. Open my texts. Thank you. ZRE. It's the ZRE. Hey, na. It's the ZRE. Snoop Dogg. That was the Chronic. The Chronic. The Chronic was where, or maybe it was the Chronic 2 when Eminem first appeared with Dr. Dre. With Dr. Dre. The Chronic 2. I think that came out when I was in high school. That came out when I was in high school. Oh, so we have 2 people here. So we've got ZRE Music and Fort Campbell. Fort Campbell. I can't type and talk, so I have to do this and like not talk. Otherwise, because I hate the idea of dead air. It just bothers me. I grew up listening to radio. A lot of radio. Radio. My favorite song. Radio. Oh. Okay. And then ZRE Partner. It's the mother... ZRE Snoop Dogg. Okay. And oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. 1999. I was a senior in high school in 1999. Do we know this person's birth time, December the 1st, 1995? Because otherwise we're not going to know the houses. Oh. Do we know this person's birth time? And you don't have to do synastry if you don't know a partner's stuff. I mean, we'll look at other stuff. It's just that tonight we're sort of particularly interested in synastry. And I thought I'd talk about doing synastry readings while we did this. You know, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ugh, I don't want my phone to fall. Pittsburgh. It's the pits. What? Cancel. Cancel, 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 cancel. If I type one wrong thing into Solar Fire, it's like it goes crazy. We don't know. Like, we're human. We accidentally press Q here and there. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to pull up. See, when I typically look at synastry, I look at both people's charts individually at first, right? But we're taking just a couple minutes per chart. I have to look at my text. That's right. Oh, okay. So now we know it's 3:36 a.m. Okay. So I'm going to fix this. And then we'll start the clock. We'll start the clock. We'll start the clock. We'll start the clock. DRE partner. And it's 3:36 a.m. FM Baja California, Mexico. That's what they always said on 91X growing. For anyone who knows San Diego radio stations. Why would you? Why would anyone? No reason. Hey, now to share my screen. Share my screen. I guess we'll put these both together. I guess we'll both put you. Bi-wheel. DRE. DRE partner. And I will always love you. I gotta. Oh, wackadoodle. Gotta change the property. Transform. Transform. Transform to the left, to the left. To the left, to the left. Oh, wait, no. To the right, to the right. But what the heck? What the heck? Transform. No. Transform. Transform. Oh. What's going on here? Whatever. Like, we can tell that's Virgo. I'm over trying to mess with it. But, so we got ZRE on the inside. Okay, now we'll start the clock. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 8 people. Where did everyone go? The heck? Let's just make sure that everyone knows. What did I do? Did I piss people off again? That happens often. It just, I swear to gosh. Okay, whatever. Sucks to be them. So you're a Virgo rising. That's quite interesting. The first thing I try to look at with synastry is to get a little profile of what each person is like. So like what prominent stuff is going on. For Virgo rising, Mercury is sort of a big deal because that's your first house ruler. But I'm really interested in your 7th house ruler, which for you is Jupiter. And I'd see Jupiter in the 8th house. So typically I think of someone who goes for the bad boys or girls or whatever you're into. The bad people. I mean, I'm one of the bad girls. It's the people who are a bit shady or unsavory or seem like dangerous in some way often. But you have to be careful because these people can give you a thrill and they'll also oftentimes give you trauma. So being judicious when you see red flags is a really important lesson for you. And then they're a Taurus rising, right? Which means their Venus is the, wait, hold on. Their 7th house ruler is Mars. And Mars is in their 7th house, conjunct their sun. Like me, they're a Mars combust. So they probably have a little bit of aggressiveness going on. But you see, people with their 1st house ruler in the 7th house, oh, sorry, with their 7th house ruler in the 7th house, they really want a partnership. The problem is they can have codependency issues. And this person has the sun in the 7th house, which does have a tendency towards that. That's something to be aware of. What's Amber saying? I have to keep watching. But, okay, cool. And you're keeping time for me, Amber, right? The first thing that comes up, when you have anything aspecting a partner's ascendant, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. With Saturn on the ascendant, we oftentimes have a difficult time getting together. Something delays, right, us getting together. But when we do get together, it's typically like sealed in blood, written in stone. It's very hard to get out of these relationships because either A, we're too afraid to get out of them, or B, there's some other kind of like financial burden or children, but we'll get, either we feel very committed, or we feel trapped. Quite frankly, I'm sorry, and then this dude, or I'm sorry, I just assumed it was I should not assume who they are, but they have Uranus conjunct their moon, and their moon in the 1st house, right? This person they probably think very highly of themselves, and their moon is exalted, right? So they think they're a very important person, probably. And they also don't like to be tied down. They're probably a bit flighty, and yet they want their cake and eat it too. And I assume that they want to, like, be mine. They probably see all that intense stuff. And then you see this Venus. Their Venus is on your ascendant. So they're probably obsessed with you in some way. They probably really, right? They probably really like you. I think when I've had this with people, it's been like love at first sight. Like, oh, I mean, it's almost like you could be at a crowded cafe with a date, someone you met online or whatever. And then this person just walks right by you, and you're like, and your date's like, it's like the meme, right? That meme where the girl's like, when the guy's like, he's like this. With the girl walking past. You know what I'm talking about, that meme? And that's what it feels like with Venus conjunct the ascendant. It's just, we get infatuated really quick. And there's oftentimes a very potent attraction. Oh, and you're a Cancer Venus like me too, so you gotta watch out. Because anyone flighty is gonna make you very anxious. And I do think that this person might be a bit flighty. First of all, because they have a sense of self. Oh, and be careful with the mental illness type stuff too. You want to be careful of mental illness stuff. Because you might be attracted to that. Like, oh, I can save them. His Venus is in Cap. What info do I have? What did it switch? Okay, now we gotta effing start over. What's going on here? What's going on here? Did it do... I hate solar fire sometimes. I really hate it. I really hate it. Whatever. I hate this stuff. So over everything. I get so... I'm way too emotional. Like, I hate everything now. I hate it. No! No! No, I'm really upset. Very upset. I'm very upset now because I did this. Ugh. Properties. I hate technology. I'm not made for technology. I shouldn't be doing technology. My brother should be helping me. Ugh, I hate technology. I'm not good at all this stuff. Now, December the 1st, 1995 for your partner, 3:36 a.m., Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I only read it in whole sign. I don't do Placidus. Take that shit elsewhere. There's only fucking 5 people. Like, why even bother? Jesus. Such a jerk. Well, now we're looking at this, and it's completely different. So wonderful. So disregard everything I said. What are you trying? I did June 4th, 1999. Campbell, Kentucky, right here. Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And then we have December the 1st, 1995, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yes, you can see, yes, you can. It's right there. It's all there. Now I'm upset. I'm upset now. Anyway, see, this is a really hard one because Sun conjunct Pluto. So you're probably going to be a bit possessive, aren't you? That's very difficult. Your rising is Pisces, then I have the wrong information. $12:50 a.m., not p.m. Well, why the... I hate things. I hate stuff. I really hate stuff. I don't like things and stuff. I hate it all. I hate it all. I hate everything. I really do. I hate everything. Oh, great, it's 5:25. No, don't be sorry, ZRE. I just hate everything. It's not your fault. I just hate things. I hate stuff. I'm a contentious, rotten person. It is what it is. That's the way I am. And yes, Sun is still conjunct Pluto. So you're going to get a bit possessive. Probably. Probably don't like when they look at anyone, do you? Anyway, your 7th house ruler is Mercury. Where do you have Mercury? In your 4th house. So, of course, someone who feels safe and feels like home is going to be the most important thing. You probably have a little bit of daddy issues, I imagine. Right? So, you have your Sun and Mercury in the 4th house typically anyway. Now, neither of them are unhappy. So, I don't think it's necessarily an awful childhood, but what do I know? So, but the interesting thing here is that you'd have that sort of, that tendency to want to find someone who feels like family, I'm sure. This is not the right info on your end. We just double checked it, didn't we? June 4th, 1999. 12:58, we've got that. Got December the 1st, 1995. Am I just like seeing a delay here? Oh, now it's too hot in here because I have the heater on. It's snowing. Or it did snow. Anyway, excuse me. So that's the thing about Plutonian relationships. You see, especially being the Pluto person, it's really difficult, you know? And their Pluto is square your ascendant. So again, they might also get a bit possessive and you might feel trapped sometimes. That could be a difficult thing. You see, with Pluto relationships, though, it's very intense very quick. And we get together very quick. And it's a delay. Okay. Thank you. So that's what it is. It's a delay. Saturn is in your 1st house, though. And that's compelling in a way. I mean, it can feel like fate and all this sort of thing. But again, there's this feeling of even getting trapped. And their Saturn is square your Sun. So there could be a likelihood of you feeling trapped. And that happens in Pluto relationships too. I mean, you have your own issues with, you got a 12th house Aquarius moon. So I think you've dealt with your own sort of difficulties in life. You know, especially perhaps dealing with mental illness or even addiction issues on your own. Oh, anyway. Or addiction issues on your own. So their 7th house ruler is Mars. And their Mars is in their 4th house. So they have the same sort of thing you do. So you're both looking for a sense of security. And their Mars in their 4th house anyway probably indicates that their parents weren't the nicest. You know, and they want that sense of feeling supported, of feeling secure. So their Pluto is conjunct their sun, so they have a difficult life anyway. You know, they probably experience life as a series of unfortunate events. All right. We just get shattered with Pluto aspecting the sun or rising like that. You see? It's what we have to deal with. And your Pluto is square your rising technically, isn't it? It's a wide orb, but still it's within 7 degrees. So, and I have Pluto square my ascendant too. It's we have issues with power. We often feel powerless as children. And then as we get older, we want to control things. We end up being control freaks. So we're going to have to go on to the next one in just a second. But, you know, this is the type of thing where friendship is the most important thing first. See? Your 7th house ruler is Mercury. And where's theirs? And their 7th house ruler is Mars. And we see, where's their Mars? Where's your Mercury? Your Mercury there. Well, they're not an aspect, really. Anyway, I always look for that to see if that's a thing. Mars, your Mars conjunct their ascendant. So watch out for fights, bickering, that sort of thing. Friendship is what makes this relationship work. Having a sense of friendship and feeling safe and secure with each other. And then we'll go on to the next. So Nicole. We already have Nicole in here. Nicole. My old phone had a pop socket. Or my old case, rather. Nicole. 1988. That's closer in my age. We don't have a birth time for Nicole. We can't really do anything without birth times, my darlings. Because we can't see houses. Please only birth times. Please only birth times. Please, 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 please. Please only birth times. I'll just say noon for this. Please birth times, unless we missed it. We may have missed it. Did we miss it? Did we miss the birth times? Otherwise, I'm just using 12 p.m. Otherwise, I'm just using 12 p.m. Massachusetts, Crosby. Crosby, Massachusetts. I don't see. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the birth times. I don't see a Crosby, Massachusetts. Is that right? Crosby, Massachusetts. Crosby, M.A. Doesn't have a Crosby, M.A. Is there a Crosby, Massachusetts? I will look on Google. Crosby, Massachusetts. Is it? Massachusetts. Is there a Crosby, Massachusetts? I don't see Crosby, Massachusetts. What is the city? Did we get it wrong? Crosby, Massachusetts. Crosby, Crosby, Crosby. Is it really? Because I don't see a Crosby. I don't see a Crosby, Massachusetts. It seems to have... Minnesota! Okay. There we go. Okay. Now it shows up. Crosby, Minnesota. So let's mind. the city. And a new chart. And then Nicole partner. Okay. 15. 8:15. 96. 12:30 p.m. And Brained, Massachusetts. Oh, and there's none of those too. Is it Brained or what is it really? What's the city in Massachusetts? What's it called? Is it really Brained? What is it? What is it? Brained. I don't know what this. Brained, Massachusetts doesn't come up. Was there a spelling thing? Where's Brained, Massachusetts? My eyes. Oh, well, why did it say Massachusetts? It said Massachusetts. Brained, Minnesota. I see Branch. I see Brainerd. Brainerd. Let me see. Must be Brainerd. Brainerd. Okay. I'm assuming it's Brainerd, right? Because there's no brained. Brained is when you hurt someone really bad in the head. That's a brained. I'm assuming it's Brainerd. Okay, it is Brainerd. Very good. But there's no brained. There is no brained. So now we're going to look at the bi-wheel. The bi-wheel here. Brainerd. Yes. Okay. Well, that's ZRE. Where the is Nicole? Nicole. There we go. There we go. Nicole's a Gemini rising. And we've got a Scorpio rising. Wonderful. The ascendants don't see each other. Lovely. I'm half kidding. I'm half kidding. Your 7th house ruler is Jupiter. And their 7th house ruler is Venus. So your Jupiter, where the heck is Jupiter? Your Jupiter's in the 11th house. So you need to get to know people first before you just sort of go into things. You probably meet other people through friends or you're friends with them first before you get together. At least that's more comfortable, I imagine. You have all this stuff in the 7th house, which you have to watch out for because it can lead, on the one hand, to some codependence. But when you have Saturn in the 7th house, it leads to hyper independence, right? It's hard to connect with people because we're so used to be like, no, I'll do it myself. I'll do it myself. And when we're in a partnership, excuse me, it's hard for us to be a partner because we really feel like more like an individual, you know? And for some people, that's quite difficult to handle, you know, because they want someone they can, you know, they can collapse into. And is the data correct for you? I don't know. Now I'm over it. So over it. So over it. So over it. 11:41. Wait, that's 12 p.m. Okay. Because I didn't have the first thing. I didn't have the first thing. What's this? What's this? That's why I need birth time. I have 1988. It's the birth time. It's the birth time. It's the birth time. I have 1988. I have that. I didn't have. It's this. So for Nicole It should be February the 13th, 1988 at 11:41 p.m. Crosby, Minnesota. Right? Cool. And for the partner, it should be August the 15th, 1996. What a lovely spread there. And Brainerd, Minnesota, 12:30 p.m. No, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Please do not feel bad. Do not feel bad. Do not feel bad. Okay, do not feel bad. 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 Now we're looking. So we got 2 Scorpio risings then, is that correct? Okay. We have 2 Scorpio risings. So both y'all's 7th house rulers are Venus. Venus is going to be the most important planet between you two. And it's a really difficult spot for you because their Saturn is conjunct your Venus. Their Saturn is conjunct your Venus. And that can often feel like someone is imposing their stuff, their expectations. They're imposing their stuff on us. And so oftentimes that can feel fine in the beginning, especially when they're a man and we're a woman, because it's the expectation. Sometimes we like a little structure. Sometimes we like a little, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't mind being manhandled here and there, but under my own terms. And when people start trying to control me, especially if I were an Aries Venus like you are, I might not take too kindly to it. And, oh, you're a 6th house Venus. So I wonder if you've been divorced already. I'm a 6th house Venus. That's the thing. Oftentimes 6th house Venus, our partners become our enemies. You see? And you might be attracted to people who can share the burden, right? Who could be responsible, who are consistent, who aren't just flakes. And then their Venus is in the 9th house. You see? And they want people they can connect with on a deeper level, probably. They probably like the fact that you're maybe a little philosophical, maybe that you're a bit mystical. I bet these kind of people, this partner of yours is intelligent. And maybe what they call, what's that, sapiosexual, where they get attracted to intelligence. You see? And then you have Pluto in the 1st house. You're just a difficult person to get along with anyway. Exactly square your midheaven. You probably upset people just by being here, by just being present. So, but their Jupiter is right on your moon, you see? So this is the kind of thing that's also a very pumping up sort of partnership, This is definitely a pumping up sort of partnership where we're sort of each other's cheer. Oh, you are divorced? I'm sorry. Me too. Although it was the best thing that ever happened to me, I'm sorry to say. It's just that a lot of us feel like we have to do that sort of thing. You have Mars conjunct Uranus. Like I have Mars opposite Uranus. No one can tell us what the fuck to do. We don't like hearing anything from anyone. In fact, if someone tells you, like, that's not right, you're like, I can't cuss in too many things, but you know what I'm saying? You'd be like, F you, and you'll even do it wrong just because, like, F them. You know what I'm saying? So, their moon is on your south node. So there's that other thing, too, where it sort of feels like it's meant to be. And your Venus is on their south node. You see, there's a sense of familiarity with these sorts of things. It's like we've known each other in a past life, which I think is a bunch of nonsense, personally. But, I know a lot of you believe in that sort of thing. And it definitely does feel that way. There's There's a sense of a shared past or familiarity with that kind of thing. So, you know, the thing about acquired tastes is a lot of us who've been through trauma have acquired those tastes. You know, unfortunately, you're probably the kind of person I'd be attracted to. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. But I see some good things here. It's just that this Venus-Saturn thing is really tough. Wait, I forgot to check my texts. This Venus-Saturn thing is really tough, and I bet you probably will feel trapped at some point. Venus trine Venus, oh sorry, Venus square Venus though, it's not all bad. It can be very attractive. You know, there's some sexual friction. You know, like we play games with each other, that sort of thing. Like we egg each other on, we tease each other, we send each other naughty texts, that sort of thing. The other thing is this person's a Cancer Mars. Not that that's all bad, but Mars rules their first house, you know, and then isn't very happy. So they may have some pretty bad confidence issues, you know. They may have some chronic illness stuff. They may have had a very bad experience of religion, even though they're probably a very mystical type person. That's the thing. I imagine this person's relatively successful, though. I keep watching Amber just in case. For the time. Now. Yeah, I mentioned that South Node thing. South Node thing. Anything aspecting the ascendant. I mean, technically his Venus is aspecting your ascendant. That's a big deal. That's a very strong attraction. Feel a bond to me already? Oh. You know. I'm not blushing. I'm not turning red. I'm not. I promise. Moon in the 11th house, even though it's in Virgo, he's probably, or I'm assuming it's a he. They're probably pretty popular. You know? Or well liked in general. I bet they're very intelligent too. You know? Where's their Saturn? 6th house. Yeah, so they have a rigidity about them. They have a rigidity about them. I'm not saying this is a bad thing at all. It's just you have to work at all that. Because they may be controlling. You know? And it may be a pattern from when they were a kid. Where they didn't have their own, you know, their own sense of control. So. But anyway, yeah, just I hope you don't feel trapped. I hope you don't feel trapped. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Giovanni. Giovanni. Oh, we have Belize. Belize. Wonderful. Belize. I wish I could go to Belize. Oh, wait. I typed in Giovanni Mar, but it's March. So it's Giovanni and it's March 9. 1980. So you are about my age. Look at that. You are about my age. Belize. Wait. Yeah. I saw Brazil. There's Belize and Brazil. Belize. Belize. So here we have one. And then we'll do another partner. And it's... Wow, we have some 10-year spreads here. I mean, I'm seeing someone who's 27 and someone, you know, age is sort of, I mean, anyway. I'm super immature. We don't have a birth time for Giovanni's partner. Do we have a birth time for Giovanni's partner? If not, I'll use 2 p.m. or 12 p.m. just as the regular thing. Do we have a birth time? Do we have a birth time for the partner? Always. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Do. 4 p.m. for, okay. 7 p.m. for the partner. And 4 p.m. for Giovanni. Four p.m. for Giovanni. Okay. 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 So, okay. Cool. Oh my gosh. So which is it? Which is it? Who is 4 p.m. and who's 7 p.m.? Because who's 4 p.m.? 7 p.m. for you. And 4 p.m. for part. 7 p.m. for you. 4 p.m. for part. Okay. 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 Very, 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 very important. Very important. Okay. 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 Cool. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Giovanni, now we have a funny partner. Do we have really 2 Libra risings? Is that really the case? Is that really the case? Because it's interesting that we just had 2. Wait. What about Shima? We got to do Shima at some point. That's fine. We'll look at Shima's chart, even though it's not synastry in this. So we should do Shima next. We should do Shima next. Partner is September 13th, not the 3rd. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. September 13th, not the 3rd. Okay. Okay. For Giovanni. Okay. The 13th. I'm so sorry, Giovanni. Now we're gonna look at the bi wheel. We still have 2 Libra risings, even though it's September 13th. Still about the same time of day, and it wasn't very far apart in terms of dates. So we still have the same rising sign. Okay. So we have a wonderful, wonderful, interesting thing right off the bat. Their Venus is pretty closely conjunct your Pluto. This can be a difficult situation. I mean, it's very alluring. I love having this in synastry. The problem is when you start feeling those butterflies in the beginning. Because we get those butterflies with Pluto stuff. And the thing about butterflies is they're often indicative of abusive situations. We get, not like everything is abusive. I'm sorry. I don't mean that bad all the time. I mean that we get anxious. And oftentimes, Pluto is too scared to leave, right, a difficult situation. And so Pluto starts getting anxious that Pluto will lose Venus. So, and Pluto gets possessive when Pluto gets anxious. So you may have a tendency to sort of try and control them, or maybe you get very sort of, I mean, some people think possessiveness is cute. I used to think it was cute, and it's really not. It's not cute. Because oftentimes it indicates that we have an insecurity about whatever it is, right? When we're too scared, relationships aren't fulfilling until we're willing to walk away. Because when we're too scared to leave a relationship, we let people treat us in all sorts of ridiculous ways. So I'm not saying that either one of you necessarily does that, but that's something we often see. Now, this goes both ways because their Pluto is on top of your Mars, right? Do I have this all correct? Do I have this all correct? I'm sure someone will say something if I don't. Where'd that chat go? Here. Now my voice is getting hoarse. I'm supposed to have a date tomorrow. I'm supposed to be seeing someone tomorrow. So, I want to not be hoarse. I want to be able to say lots of raunchy things. Anyway, so their Pluto's on your Mars. And this can make you feel trapped. It could be very attractive, don't get me wrong. It's a lot nicer than Pluto opposite Mars, that's for dang sure. But the thing about this is there's a predatory sense between you two. It's like you both feel like you own each other, probably. And their North Node is exact with your Saturn. You see, this is a difficult relationship to have. And they're Aquarius rising like me, and you're a Libra rising. This is a difficult situation to have because we both probably have a sense of anxiety, right? Either way. And we both probably have a sense of a bit of possessiveness. And this would be an intense relationship, you know? This would be probably the sort of thing where it feels like, of course, butterflies. It feels like fate, like it was meant to be. But then we probably start oversharing really quick. We probably move too fast. We say, I love you too quick. We all of a sudden move in after a month or something like that. But you need to grow into love. It doesn't just happen. There's no such thing as love at first sight. There is attraction and there is intense attraction. But I would not call that love. I'm saying this as an old woman. Well, I feel like an old woman. And I've been through lots of nasty situations. So, suns are opposite. Suns are opposite. Oh, hello, sweetheart. Hexes and ho. Look at that. Hello, darling. But you see, your suns are opposite like that. And that is attractive. It's a very compelling thing. You know, but then there's tension. Then there's tension between our personalities. We have different aesthetics. We have different ways of approaching things. And sometimes we might feel like we step on each other's toes. You see? And their Chiron is conjunct their sun, like I have. So they probably have a bit of a painful life. And they probably have a bit of a painful childhood. And when someone's stuff is in our 12th house, we typically feel like they're intruding on our secret space. You know, they burst into our heads without asking. Who told you you could go in there? Get out of there. That's my secrets. My secret stuff. That's not for you. Right? What did I miss here? I mean, that's the whole thing, isn't it? Well, 7th house rulers. So your 7th house ruler is Mars. Their 7th house ruler is the sun. Excuse me. Their 7th house ruler is the sun. So that's their 7th house, which would mean this is their 8th house. Excuse me. This is their 8th house. So they have an 8th house sun. And that can be a little difficult too for some reasons, because with 8th house suns, or rather, their 7th house ruler in their 8th house often indicates that they're attracted to bad people, right? Or dangerous people. We're attracted to people who feel dangerous oftentimes. And that, again, has its own hazards, right? So that's something to be aware of. In your case, you probably are attracted to people who have their shit together. You want people who are responsible, people who, you know, are relatively successful, probably. You probably grew up poor, quite frankly, you know, or at least having to scrimp and save, or feeling like there's not enough. So you want to feel like someone has their shit together, right? You want to feel like someone, you know, is a relatively responsible human being. This person also has their Saturn in the 2nd house. And they're having their Saturn return. So have fun with them, because they're figuring all their shit out right now. But you both have had, here's Amber. You both have had difficulty growing up with money. Difficulty with money. Now the cool thing here is that your Venus is conjunct their Aquarius rising. I have this with someone else right now. And there's always a very intense attraction to this, right? I say it feels like love at first sight, even though I don't believe in love at first sight. But it is a very, very potent, intense attraction that happens very quickly. So I would say, depending on how long you guys have been together, I would take it slow. The likelihood is that you've already gotten past that point. So what's very important about this relationship then is complete honesty, sensitivity, and communication. Because you probably have the sex part down. That part's probably easy with all this stuff there, you know? It's all the other part that will be hard. The communication part of it. See? That part is a bit more, it takes more finesse. Although we have Mercury trine the moon, which is very good. Mercury trine the moon. Saturn square the ascendant, though, again, it's either very difficult to make this happen or to break out of it. Right? So we've got to be very careful with it. Okay, now we're doing Shaima. 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 From Baghdad. Baghdad. I wish I could go to Iraq because I'm obsessed with Uruk, you know, the Sumerian city. Well, it was there before the Sumerians too. I'm obsessed with Uruk and Eridu. And I would love to go to Iraq, but I cannot. I cannot. I can probably not go anywhere in the Middle East for a long time because I'm trans. Trans. 1973. And quite honestly, it's just, Iraq is, I think it's relatively stable right now, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately in a way, but it's just ridiculous. A lot of things are ridiculous how they went down. Baghdad. The city of Baghdad was actually established by a Jewish astrologer. They were consulting a Jewish astrologer before they established the city of Baghdad. Hello, Tim. Timothy. Thank you, Inanna. Oh, yes. Thank you. She's my mama. I do devotion to her. So we'll look at Shaima. Excuse me. And for Shaima, we'll just look at some things really quick. Because we've looked at your natal chart before, I know. So we'll just look at some stuff that's been going on. You have Saturn going through your 10th house now. So you see, at least Iraq won the Iraq War. Good point. Good point, Tim. I mean, really, if you want to think of it that way, it was a Pyrrhic victory. Because by a lot of estimates, over 1 million people, right, lost their lives. Over 1 million people. Iraqis. Over 1 million Iraqis. Human beings. People get crazy over that. Anyway, well, it's fine. But Saturn going through your 10th house, you see, this is a time when we feel like our direction is stunted. It's a time when we feel like we miss opportunities, that we don't get what we want. We oftentimes have a vision of how life is supposed to be, our career, where we want to go. But career isn't always everything, Hello, beautiful angel. I know I popped in at a heavy time. Just wanted to say hello. Oh, hello. Hi, sweetheart. Well, the USSR's Great Patriotic War, it was a Pyrrhic victory, too. I mean, yeah. What war isn't a Pyrrhic victory, to be honest with you? It's only a victory for rich people, typically, who get to reap the rewards while everyone else fights. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Shaima, I think we've talked about, you probably grew up very poor or, not having everything that you needed. And right now it feels again like it's just, there's not a lot of movement. But what you have to recognize is as we get further along in this Saturn cycle, as we get to later in 2025, you're going to see light at the end of the tunnel. What happens with this aspect a lot of times, or this transit rather, as Saturn is going through our 10th house, we miss opportunities. We feel like we don't get what we want, but then, like the Rolling Stones song, sometimes you just might find you get what you need, right? Yeah. So, new opportunities we don't expect often open up towards the end of the transit. So what we have to do is learn to roll with the punches and to let go of our expectations a little bit, because life doesn't care about our expectations. It does what it's going to do. And we sort of just have to ride like a surfer rides a wave, No, I don't think it's too late. Amber is watching this, right? The Shade. Amber, are you talking about me? The Shade? Are you talking about me, Amber? I've just been frustrated. So anyway, and you have Venus in Virgo too. So you're having your Venus return right now, going through your 4th house. Oftentimes, we have a need to decorate our space. We have a need to make our space feel like us. We have a need to make our space beautiful, right? You're beautiful, right? And the other thing about the North Node in the 8th house, unfortunately, is we learn about loss throughout our life. I'm sorry, it sucks. I was talking about this with someone earlier. A big lesson in life is just dealing with loss, you know? Loss not by death. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's loss of relationships, there could be loss of money, there can be death, but it's, I mean, I hate to say it, but the life lesson we learn is how to let go of things. And you're a very deep spiritual person, right? Because you have that moon conjunct Jupiter in the 9th house, you know? And the moon rules your 2nd house. So I'd like to think that spiritual pursuits bring you a little bit of money or success in some way. I don't know how they would, but that's what it looks like. Sleepy deepy. Transit wise though, we talked about Saturn. Jupiter's going through your 12th house. So this is sort of an isolating but reflective time for the next, 6 months, 6 to 8 months. Very reflective time. And you might feel like you don't want to be bothered by people very much. You want to be left alone to figure your stuff out, right? Venus is going to go at the end of November, I think. Yeah, end of November. Into your 5th house. Or no, November 8th. November 8th? Venus is going to go into your 5th house, which will be fun. I hope that's, I mean, I don't know what the nightlife is like in Iraq. If you're in Iraq still. But, it's a time to get out and meet people a little bit. And it's also, if you have children, it's time to reconnect with your kids. It's a time to have fun, take pleasure for yourself, really. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's about pleasure for you, Mars. Excuse me. Mars is going through your 6th house. So it's time to do all the stuff that you've been avoiding you don't want to do. Jessica is next. So unfortunately until late November, it's about responsibility. It's about responsibility. You're probably, with your 7th house ruler being in the 9th house, you're probably attracted to either foreign people or very deep intelligence, philosophical, or maybe you have a priest kink, I don't know. Or an imam kink, an imam kink. So, drop a Indo in my, and it's, it became every day, all day to the day I hit my grave. Side that lope to the brain, cause it's all red rum. A couple hits for the work and a fifth for the coke and rum. I have my, I should stop with that. I just love Brother Lynch. I love Brother Lynch. Call me Agent 00, do spot block. I got that number, got. I shouldn't say that out loud. Shouldn't say that. When it says 5:09, I assume that it's AM. It's AM. Let's double check this city name. It says Voorhees, New Jersey. And I don't think that's correct. Voorhees. Because that's not a place, is it? No, it's not a place. Oh, okay. Wait. VOOR. 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 Voorhees. And there's 2 Voorhees in New Jersey. There's Voorhees in Camden County and Voorhees in Somerset County. And is it Camden County? But you wouldn't have known that, Amber. That would have been whoever this person is. Whoever. Voorhees. Is it in Camden? Can you let us know? Voorhees. I don't know how to pronounce it. I've never heard of this place. And is it in Camden County or Somerset County? Somerset or Camden? Where's the chat? Voorhees in Somerset or Camden County? Camden. Lovely. Camden. Camden County. Because there's two Voorhees. Two Voorhees. Oh, and we have a partner from Egypt. So where's the ninth house stuff? Partner. And we got a partner from Egypt. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I'm a terrible manager. I'm really an awful. I was a manager for many years. I'm awful. I'm awful, awful, awful. 1969. Oh, we have a big spread here. We have a big spread. But that's cool. That's cool. I'm used to that. I'm used to that. 7/5/1960. 7:30 a.m. 7:30 a.m. What's going on here? Because this place doesn't exist. This place, Bena, Egypt. Where in Egypt? Where's Egypt? Because what is the city in Egypt? Please tell me. What is the city in Egypt? Because this place doesn't exist. This place doesn't exist. If I only knew your afflicted Mercury, I do know it's not an excuse, unfortunately. Afflicted Mercuries you don't get to claim afflicted Mercury when you. Sorry. Sorry. What's your city in Egypt, please, for your partner? Because this place, Behna, doesn't exist. Ben-Ha. Okay. Let's try that. That worked. That worked. Lovely. Lovely. Very cool. EBK every day, all day to the day I hit my eye. That low to the brain, cause it's all red rum. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong person. We want Jessica. Jessica partner. Hopefully all this information is correct-a-doodle. Correct-a-doodle. I'm sorry, I'm a crazy person. Amber will be mad at me later. Very hard person to deal with. I am. Very hard. No, I got it. I got it to work. Okay, that worked. I'm a very difficult person to deal with. Everyone sees me online and thinks it's like some kind of gimmick, but no, I'm really, really that bad. I'm really that bad. I'm really, really that bad. Oh my gosh, right off the bat. Well, Jessica has Pluto conjunct her ascendant. So she's a big pain in the ass. People don't like to deal with her. She can probably walk into a room and upset people just by her very presence. Even if she's meek and mild, typically, or if she experiences herself that way, there's still going to be a part of her that's just unconsciously assertive, dominant, present. It's not a thing that you do, it's a thing that you are. It comes through like our pores. And it really sucks when you're a woman because other women get catty with you. And they're like, oh, Elizabeth, you know, who does she think she is? And they get jealous. They get jealous of us, don't they? I have Pluto square in my ascendant, you know, and that's one reason I'm such a you know, a bish. It's no excuse. Just like an afflicted Mercury's no excuse. But, you know, We do our best. We try and deal with things. So anyway, his Mars, or their Mars, I'm assuming it's a him. I don't know. But having that Mars conjunct your ascendant is very attractive, right? They're probably very attracted to you, and they probably maybe aggressively pursued you. You know, the kind of thing where they're like looking at you from, they see you in a bar or something like that, and they just have to come up and, you know, and sometimes it works. Obviously, it maybe worked here, you know. But watch out for fights, because this also indicates splits. It indicates schisms. It indicates arguments. It indicates butting heads. You see? You see? And I mean, this is a big, they're a Pluto Virgo person. You know? They're a Pluto Virgo person. So that's a significant age spread. And like I said, I've had significant age spreads here and there. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but what I've noticed is there's a lot of dissonance or disharmony in the way we view the world, right? That's the thing. You know, like the okay boomer. Now, they're not a boomer, they're Gen X. But you see what I'm saying? There's a whole different frame of reference. We get conditioned by the times that we grow up in, which is why old people are so annoying, because they're conditioned by the time that they grew up in, right? And that's why they're the biggest lobby in the United States, isn't it? Because they, you know, they hold all the cards. They actually have all the money right now too. Most of the money is held in the hands of boomers. So that's a whole crazy thing. And then the kids of boomers, right, who have money are going to get money, because that's how this stuff works. It's like an inheritance scheme. Excuse me. Now, your 7th house ruler is Mercury. And their Mercury is in your 7th house, which feels quite compelling. Their 7th house ruler is Saturn. And their Saturn is in your 6th house. Their Saturn, in fact, is opposite your moon, right? The moon is a difficult thing there to have opposite Saturn. Now, it can feel like our emotions get trampled. And you're a Scorpio moon, you see? So your emotions are already fucked up. I'm sorry to say. You know, Scorpio moon is one of the hardest moons to have. Capricorn and Scorpio. And I always joke that, you know, Scorpio moon is so cute. Look at them over there, hiding in the bushes with binoculars. Scorpio moon is paranoid. Pardon me, I just burped. Scorpio moon is, it's very paranoid and possessive and jealous, because it has this underlying emotional insecurity, right? It always feels like it's about to be abandoned. It oftentimes thinks everyone is talking about her or it, right? Mom oftentimes wasn't very a nice person. And then having the moon in the 12th house is just like double. It's like oftentimes we can have depression, we can have anxiety, you know, we can have all this trauma, we can have addiction issues, alcoholism, drugs, stuff like that. And the moon rules your 8th house, right? So that's just another fun thing there. You see? So you may have your own demons that you struggle with. And so people who are safe, right, are going to be very important. Like I said, your 7th house ruler Mercury in the 1st house. So you got to be careful, because you're attracted probably to domineering type dudes, right? You're attracted to dominant people. People who frequently want to control you. Maybe that's a daddy thing, I don't know. But wait, I gotta keep track of Amber when she's messaging me. Gotta keep track of Amber when she's messaging me. Okay. 11/24/77. Of course it is. 11/24/77. So it's not July 5th, 1969? Kirsty Bridges. I didn't even know you were here, Kirsty. I'm sorry. I didn't even know you were here, darling. So, can someone tell me? Oh, please don't FaceTime me, Amber. Why can't we talk like on the phone? Why does it have to be FaceTime? Why can't it be phone? I can't even hear you. What? Okay. Okay, well, let's just do phone. Please don't FaceTime. Or text me. Please. So, his is correct. So it's not 11/24/77. I disregard 11/24/77? Or do we put in 11/24/77? I just want to know what to do. I just want to know what to do. I want to know what to do. Want to know what to do. Want to know his is correct. His is correct. His is correct. Okay. So it is 1960. Like, because we could see information here. So please, everyone, double check the information and let us know if it's correct. So is it July 5th, 1969? I'm confused too, Amber. I'm confused. Is it July 5th, 1969, or is it November the 24th, 1977? Because those are two way different dates, you know? This is July 5th, 1969. What says December? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. We might have to go on to the next person because I don't know. I don't know what that means. What's December? What's December? Oh, my heart hurts. Need salt water. So please double check your information, everyone. Date, time, city. 3 things: date, time, city. Date, time, city. Is this the correct information? Otherwise, I'm moving on because I don't know. You put her 11 instead of 12. Oh, her information. I'm looking at the partner. See, I need to know that. No one said her information. So it's November. November. Because it said 12/24 in the text here. Said 12/24. Christmas Eve. You know. But no, it's not 12/20. Okay. It's November. In Camden. In Camden. Oh no. I typed it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. We have it correct? Yes? We do. Okay. We do. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I can't like hide my stuff. I wear exactly how I'm feeling. I'm sorry. I can't not do it. Okay. Drop a sec. Indo win my pipe. And it's EBK every day, all day to the day I hit my grave. Anyway. That low to the brain, cause so Saturn in your 7th house, that's rough. Mars conjunct your sun can be attractive at first. But again, you have to watch out because that leads to bickering. Leads to bad bickering. Were you born in 1977 or 97? Because were you born in 1977 or 1997? Is that what this is? 77? 77 or 97? I'm sorry, my face. This is my face. This is what I do. 77 or 97? 77 or 97? 77 or 97? 77 or 97? Okay. Oh. Okay. Got this done. It's lovely. I'm not tripping. 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 If I say it enough, I won't be. Just keep repeating it to me. I'm happy. Happy. Like Zoolander. Did you ever see Zoolander? Oh. Okay. I really hate wasting time. Nothing bugs me more than wasting time. Really bugs. Ugh. Really drives me nuts. Ugh. Ugh. Well, look at that. Saturn's still in the 7th house. Saturn's still in the 7th house. 77. The day before you ran into Owen Wilson, actually. Zoolander? Yeah. That's fun. Zoolander. Do it, Hansel. Do it, Hansel. He's so hot right now. So Mars, their Mars right on your sun. It can be very attractive sexually. But on the other hand, it leads to splits, arguments, fights. We have a tendency, Mars does, to push the sun into a corner, right? It feels like the sun just sort of does whatever it wants. I mean, that's what the sun does. The sun's the center of its system. And Mars is like, oh no, that's not what I want to do. This is what we're going to do. You know? Because Mars wants to be in control. And maybe that's nice and attractive sometimes, but, you know? Yeah, I'm a rotten person. I really am. I'm a nasty person. And I know I am. I'm sorry. I am not a nice person. Not. But that's part of the good, because I tell you the truth. And I promise I'm a lot nicer in reading. You know. I did a lot of HR stuff before. I had to deal with a lot of difficult things. And what makes me better at this is that I've been through most of what people have been through too. At least most of my clients. And I can relate to their stuff. So, I've had my own bullshit. You know? Anyway. Huh? Well. Just get to know me. Amber's gotten to know me. Amber knows I'm not a nice person. I'm not a nice person. Anyway, well, so the thing, okay, this is such a wide orb, but your Venus conjunct their Neptune It's really easy to get lost in these relationships. It feels so nice. It feels like Romeo and Juliet, right? Like, what light beyond yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Behold, O sun, rise and kill the envious moon. I forget the lines, but you see what I'm saying? It's this idyllic type of thing, and we get stuck into fantasy, and we avoid the things that we have to do. We avoid red flags. We avoid paying the bills, maybe taking care of our kids or whatever. You know, I mean, you probably both already have had your children, I'd imagine. I don't know where you're each at in your lives, but if you've had children, you've probably already done that all. Your fifth house ruler is what? Your fifth house ruler is Jupiter. You have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. You do have children. I bet one of them is very smart or something to do with university stuff. It's retrograde though, so yeah, Neptune. Yep, Neptune with Venus. It feels very good, but it doesn't feel good later when all of a sudden you're like up to your eyeballs in nonsense because you've avoided everything. And a lot of times we avoid what? Difficult conversations that we have to have with people. Now, their Venus is in your seventh house. And so oftentimes that feels amazing. You know, if, oh, you have 3 kids together, wonderful. Well, their North Node's in your 5th house and their moon is in your 5th house. So that's quite fitting. That's quite fitting. Now, their Saturn is also in your 7th house, which is not always fun. It can feel controlling. In fact, their Saturn is on your descendant. So there's a good chance that this relationship was very hard in getting together. See, you have Jupiter in the 9th house. That's the foreign attraction thing there. But the other thing is your 7th house ruler is Venus in Scorpio. So you're going to be the type of person probably that is attracted to, you know, either narcissistic or just very confident or maybe controlling type men, people who, you know, are more dominant perhaps. If that makes any sense to you, tough guys or strong guys. And you have to watch out because you have Venus opposite the moon. And that is codependency written all over it. I have Venus square the moon and it's very similar. And when we fall in love with people, we get very paranoid. It's like, you're going to find someone better. They're going to find someone cuter, someone smarter or faster or stronger, or whatever it is you're insecure about. Whatever it is, you're going to be insecure about it. And what we have to do is realize in relationships, they're never going to be fulfilling unless we're willing to cut it off and walk away from it. Because if we're not, then we're going to let ourselves be treated all sorts of ways. Because if you're too scared to leave a relationship, you're screwed. No matter what. You see? And I only know that from experience. And this is something we see with these hard Venus-Moon contacts. Your moon is exalted. We like that. The moon rules the 9th house. So, of course, you're very attracted to deep, intelligent people, too, and foreign people. Right? Makes a lot of sense. And regardless of even if you guys share a similar background, it's a lot different. Right? Having been born into different cultures. Regardless, you know, you can both, and I'm sorry, I don't want to sound, I'm just making a stereotype here because this person's from Egypt, but you could both have a Muslim background. You both could have a similar religious background and still be totally different people in totally different contexts, right? Growing up in Egypt is going to be completely different from growing up in Camden, New Jersey, you know? So it's just something to be aware of. And I'm sure you've been navigating that for many years, obviously. I thought it was 1997 to 1969. I was like, oh, shoot. That's a real spread. I'm sorry, I have ADHD. I have to play with stuff. If you see my videos when I'm doing this 8-ball thing, it's only because I'm ADHD. And now it's a gimmick. Oh, Amber messaged me. Amber messaged me. Oh no, Amber didn't message me. You have absolutely nothing in common. That's okay. I was married to someone for 12 years and we had nothing in common either. But somehow we were together. Well, we were married for 7 and we were together for 12. So there's that too. We're going to have to go to another person. I am just in such a terrible mood. I'm not going to lie. I'm in a terrible, terrible mood. I'm in an awful mood. This whole live has gone completely awful. I'm sorry. It's gone awful. Completely rotten. I feel like a lot of time has been wasted, both yours and mine. So the next one will be better. The next one will be better. It will be better. Is there anything I want to mention before? Except we work very well together and we like to discuss religion and politics. Yeah. Yeah. That makes total sense. That makes total sense. Just watch out for those fights, for pushing buttons. He's probably the type that gets... See, his Mars is retrograde, though, so he's probably a bit passive-aggressive. He says shitty shit, you know, but... He'll say shitty shit, but then, like, in a... You're like, oh, that's nice. Oh, is that how you're doing that? Why do you have to do this like that? Or why do you always do that? I mean, it's like these jabs. You know, these little jabs. And they could wear you down after a while. So just, you gotta watch out for that kind of stuff. And technically, Venus is opposite Mars, which is probably why you got together. Oh, wait, no, his Venus is opposite Mars. I'm sorry. His Venus is opposite Mars. Anyway, I gotta move on. I gotta move on. What are my thoughts on Venus conjunct the South Node? I've had that several times, and it's very attractive. It's also a sense of familiarity. People always say, oh, it's karmic. It's karmic. Karma. Tell me what's not karmic. Tell me what's not. If you believe in karma, everything is karmic. The Buddha said, karma is volition. Having willed, a person acts through body, speech, and mind. Everything is karmic. Everything we do is karmic. So when something's conjunct the descendant like that, it's a sense of familiarity. It feels like a sense of shared past. Because the South Node in modern astrology is often relegated to that past thing. And guess what? I do see it work. So I still use that sort of stuff. I make fun of modern astrology a lot, but, you know, still do. I'm an awful person. I'm an awful, awful person. I get so easily, I have Mars combust. I go like, ah! Mars combust, you know. And it's trine my ascendant. So I cannot hide. My face turns red. I get frustrated. No. Which is why I like hard, angry music. I like angry music. So I can go, ah! You know. So anyway, we should move on to the next person. Yeah, I don't really believe in all that stuff. I mean, we have to, part of the underlying philosophical basis of astrology is this whole idea of reincarnation. That consciousness or souls, right, are progressively unfolding as we identify with our source. I don't necessarily believe in any of that. I don't necessarily believe in anything, but we can sort of take it as the hypothesis. Like, being in the occult for 28 years is like being in seminary. Eventually it makes you an atheist. You know, they say becoming a priest makes you an atheist. It's the same thing with the occult. You know, Mars conjunct Saturn and Pluto, that's wonderful, that's fun. Anyway, drop a saka. Anyway, I keep wanting to sing Brother Lynch. So now we're doing faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. The evidence of things not seen, according to St. Paul, Saul of Tarsus. Saul of Tarsus. So we got faith, and I've got February, please. February. Is this correct? February the 3rd. February the 3rd, 1992. February 3rd, 1992. 11:20. Are you kidding me right now? What? What is going on? 2/3/92. 392. 11:23 in the a.m. Riverside. So you were born near where I was born. I'm from San Diego originally. I'm from San Diego originally. So we have faith. You gotta have faith. Gotta have faith. What's the song? Wouldn't it be nice if I could touch a body? I know that everybody wants a body like me. Diddle-loo, do 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 do. Oh, wow, wow, wow. July the 12th, 1992. I hope this is all correct, because otherwise I'm going to just, you know. You know? If I could touch a body, I know that everybody wants a body like me. San Francisco. I've got family up there in San Francisco. I left my sister in San Francisco. I know that everybody wants a body like me. No, I have a belly I need to get rid of. I wore a midriff thing to this, this party. This group party. And I looked pretty good, but like I want to have a nicer tummy. I know she'll love me later tonight. Oh my goodness. If I could touch a body. Faith and faith partner. Gotta have faith. Gotta have faith. Tons of Mars contacts today. So your 7th house ruler is Mars, and your 7th house ruler in his chart is aspecting your rising sign. I always think it's interesting when people's 7th house rulers aspect each other. OMG, stop it. Stop what? Stop what? What am I supposed to stop? I can't stop. That's probably why I'm been broken up with so much, is I don't know when to quit. I've had people say, don't you have an off switch? So you're both Taurus rising? Did I get something incorrect? I'm going to assume this is right, because we don't have time for me to. I'm so. Well, I should show you my tummy. I feel like I have it. You have an off switch? Never, I know. Well, you're a new moon baby. Look at all that. You're a new moon baby, exactly, and very closely conjunct your Saturn. So, I imagine that you've had a difficult go. You may have to deal with mental illness. You may have had a very difficult mother and father. You have Chiron in the 4th house, so I think that's almost undoubtedly so. Off switches. Switches. I thought you meant switches like me, who go like dominant and submissive. I mean, I'm mostly dominant, but let's just say I've met, I mean, I met the most wonderful couple, and they're amazing, and I really like them both. But the boyfriend turns me into a literal puddle of sub. I'm just like, and he's like the only nice dude in my whole like dating career I've ever met. Like, there's only been one nice dude. I'm not saying I don't like men. It's just that so far there's only been one good one out of lots. Oh, you know, he's a Sag rising born at 5:17 p.m. So, thank you for recognizing. If I could touch body. 5:17 p.m. I sound like Tigger. The tops are made of the rubber. The bottoms are made of the springs. We're bouncy, trouncy, founcy, flouncy, fun, 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 fun. The wonderful thing about Saturn girls is I'm the only one. I'm the only one. Okay, well, that's a horse of a different color, isn't it? Wait, no, what the just happened? The just happened? You guys were both born in 1992, correct? Yeah. 11:23 a.m. Riverside. 5:17 p.m. Yeah. Yeah. The Mars. Wait. Whoa. 5:17 p.m. San Francisco. So Faith should be a Taurus rising, and he should be a Sag rising. So why does Solar Fire keep insisting on cramping my style? Okay, there we go. So once again, Mars, right? Mars conjunct the ascendant. That's another lovely thing. We've talked about that quite a bit with schisms and fights and all that stuff. You're about the same age, so Saturn's in the same place. But for you, I imagine you've had a pretty difficult go. Excuse me. With Chiron in the 4th house, right? Parents were probably not too fun people. Who sucks? Oh, men's, yeah. Kind men are rare in my community as well. I mean, yeah, and I'm getting into the kink and like swinger community and stuff, and I mean, anyway, I love it. I love it, don't get me wrong. It's just, I've been realizing for me, I need to hold to my boundaries instead of like going along with people because it's easier to do. See? So anyway, your Saturn conjunct your new moon. Like I said, it can have mental illness stuff. It could be a very difficult mother, very difficult father. We have a sense oftentimes growing up that we have no life direction. We don't know where to go. Oftentimes we feel like we don't fulfill our parents' expectations. We feel like, you know, oh, Amber, I'm not going to roast you. I'm not going to roast you. Not going to roast you. But anyway, and it's difficult too because you have confidence issues. Probably. But yeah, at the same time, you have this great potential, you know, this great potential for success in a lot of ways. Mercury conjunct your midheaven like that, you know, you should learn how to express yourself pretty well. But growing up, you probably couldn't. You know, you probably felt slow and stupid, but you're not. You know, the thing is we often feel like we're supposed to do something. And then we realize when we get older, no, you didn't have to do that. You're not supposed to do anything in particular. You don't need to please your parents. You need to find your own way, you know? So this person, their Saturn's on your new moon. So it could really feel like that they're controlling or that they hold you back in some way. They have Saturn square Mars. So they're probably a bit rigid. They probably have their own rigid expectations. They're used to life fighting them. They're used to not getting things their way. They're used to fighting for stuff. And they might push that on you. Like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You have to always follow through. You have to... It's a very rigid thinking process. And they're a Capricorn moon. This person isn't necessarily easy to get along with. Like me. I'm a Libra moon, but I'm still, Libra moon conjunct Pluto. And Saturn. So I'm not a nice person. And I can identify with some of your stuff, right? Difficult mothers, mental illness, perhaps. You did everything you wasn't supposed to do only for that reason. Yeah. Really see outside themselves. I'm an empath. I don't believe in empaths. I think that's a thing that New Age people made up to abuse people with impunity. Oh, it's okay, I'm an empath. It's okay, I'll tell you how you feel. I'll gaslight you because I'm an empath. It's okay. Okay. Anyway, but their moon is, it's a very wide orb. Very wide orb. But you could say their moon is co-present with your Venus at the very least. Which is a feeling of comfort with each other, right? There might be emotional reciprocity, So there might be some of that comfortability, as they say. I don't like that word comfortability, but I guess it is a word, right? They have Cancer Venus relatively conjunct the sun. So this is a possessive type person. And I should know about Cancer Venus, but that's the wonderful thing about being polyamorous. You don't have to do it. And, right, you got Venus and the sun trine Pluto here. Now that can be very lovely for sex. It can be awesome for sex. And it's like that. We get butterfly. Oh my God. Right? But butterflies, I'm telling you, butterflies are an indication of anxious attachment. They are. Anxious attachment. So we have to be careful with that, It's anxious attachment. So, I'll tell you another good game that I know. That was Cat in the Hat. It's a very compelling thing, but the problem with these Pluto aspects is we want to own someone. We start seeing them as our property, and they see us as property. We grow deep roots into each other. It's really hard to break up from those things because there's obsession. There's a sense of identity that goes along with the relationship. Like we fall into it. We collapse into it. There's Saturn to square your ascendant too. That's another difficult. It's more that possessive shit. This person is going to learn bit by bit that they have to compromise and that they don't always get what they want. So the ascendant, 7th house is Mercury, which means they're an 8th house sun, They're an 8th house sun and Venus. So what does that typically... Well, these are people who are very compelling. I've been with people with 8th house suns and Venus, and everyone wants to tell them their secrets. If they have good motives, that's cool. Then they can be a confidant. They can be someone who helps you work through trauma. Or if they're not a nice person, they will use your intimate details as ammunition to hurt you, to control you. So be careful of that nonsense. Be careful. If someone tells you, if you tell people things in confidence and they use that stuff against you, that's not a loving person. That's not a constructive relationship. It's not a constructive relationship. So just beware of that. I'm not saying anything is necessarily bad or it won't work. I'm just telling you to watch out for. Because the synastry is potential. It's not like composite where it's like that's what it is, you know. And sometimes I won't even look at composites because I'm nervous. But that's the wonderful thing about polyamory. At least I'm very taken with it right now. I'm very taken with it right now. So anyway, is there anyone we can do before we go? We'll do one more. We'll do one more, Amber. We'll do one more. I've been a total rotten bitch tonight because this started off bad with misinformation. And I'm not a perfectionist. I'm just like, I'm Veruca Salt. I'm a grown-up Veruca Salt. That's what it is. I want what I want when I want it. Composite gives me anxiety sometimes. La-di-da-di-da. La-di-da-di-da. We'll do one more. La-di-da-di-da. Do you have information for la-di-da-di-da? Thank you. I like to fill the air in the meantime. Maybe I just drank too much coffee, but I'm having my heart issues. My tachycardia. I have POTS. Postural orthostatic tachycardial syndrome. I have to drink salt water just to feel normal. I have one question, please. What are your thoughts? What are my thoughts on a draconic sun making an exact conjunction to the natal sun of a partner? I feel you're mixing apples and oranges. I don't have any thoughts on that. I don't mean to be a bitch, but no. Don't mix zodiacs. Or are you just talking about the zodiac and the draconic zodiac in general? I don't even use the draconic zodiac. I won't use it. I only use the tropical zodiac. I don't agree with the premises of these other zodiacs. I don't even agree with the premise of sidereal. Because sidereal, what defines the zodiac is I get this also from Adam Ellenboss, who's a wonderful astrologer. I don't like many astrologers, but Adam Ellenboss is really good. I just don't agree with him on spiritual things. Because I'm very weird about spiritual stuff. I'm a 9th house Saturn. I'm very suspicious of spirituality because I've been through it for many years. But anyway, it's the unchanging rhythm of the solstices and equinoxes that defines the zodiac. And sidereal astrology will let the cardinal signs drift. They'll let the signs drift relative to the solstices and equinoxes. Aries is at the vernal equinox for very important reasons. Aries partly gets its meaning from the fact that it's at the vernal equinox. Look at fucking Libra. It gets its meaning from being at the autumnal equinox. Capricorn gets a lot of its meaning from being at the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. The zodiac is defined by the alternation of light and dark over the course of a solar year. So no, I don't agree with the premise of sidereal astrology whatsoever. And people, anyway, I've had lots of arguments with people about this. Anyway. Do we do faith? Oh yeah, we're doing someone else. We're doing someone else. La-di-da-di-da. And then we're going after this. La-di-da. Because I don't feel good. And I can't go longer than 2 hours on these things because it's not good for my health. More than 2 hours is not good for me. And I need to make a video about Saturn going direct. La-di-da. January the 11th, 2001. That's when I graduated high school. 9:50 a.m. Thunder Bay. Canada. Oh, Canada. our home and native land. True patriot love, and all thy sons command. With glowing hearts and gleaming eyes, we stand up strong and free. With something humbling Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Okay, you have a difficult one. You're an Aquarius rising like me, sweetheart. I mean, if all of your information is correct, and going by how this night is gone, it's probably not. So, are we January the 11th, 2001, 9:50 a.m., Thunder Bay, Canada? Are we now? I'm assuming we are. I know. I had to learn the Canadian national anthem for like International Day in 7th grade, and I have a Taurus Mercury. I never forgot it. Or I forgot parts of it. No. Ugh. Anyway, Exalted Venus. Okay, cool. It's correct. For once. For once this evening, it's correct. So, I mean, it just is really hard having a 12th house sun. It really is. Luckily, with whole sun houses, Mercury gets out of that 12th house. But I still imagine you've always felt sort of isolated or alienated from people. You also probably have to deal with mental illness and or addiction things. The sun is also your 7th house ruler, so you're probably attracted to these people who are, you know, wishy-washy and drunk. You know, people who are what's the term I used to use? People who are silly and drunk or whatever. You love me staring you down in the kin. You know, I mean, so you're probably attracted to fixer-uppers. Just another fixer-upper. People who feel like you can fix them. People who feel wounded, you know. You might also be attracted to people who are just like, who feel like hippie-ish, you know, feel mystical, someone you can retreat with. The problem is bender babes. Yeah, bender babe. I mean, I was a bender babe back in the day. You know? Jupiter in Sagittarius. And you see, I mean, you have a Leo moon, and you think, oh, wow, me, but it's in the 7th house. And this often does, and it's opposite your ascendant. And it often does indicate codependent sort of stuff. You have Pluto trine your moon, too, so you're a bit... You know, when I see Pluto trine the moon, I oftentimes think of, it can either be a mom who was difficult, or a mom that you were very close to, but in very taboo ways. Like, I've seen this with people who end up sharing everything with their mothers, like about sex and drugs and, you know, all their intimate details. And their mom typically tells them about stuff like that too. So, I'm getting cold now. It was hot in here and now I'm getting cold. It's snowing outside. Or it did snow. I gotta put my jacket on. Anyway, and I seriously doubt you had a good experience of your father. With Saturn in the 4th house, we often have absent or abusive father. But home does not feel safe. It oftentimes feels like very unstable. And see, the shitty thing about you is, like, home doesn't feel safe, right? And then you went to school as a kid, didn't you? And school didn't feel safe because you were bullied, right? You were made fun of. You were made to feel weird or left out. It's like being the last kid picked for dodgeball oftentimes. You see? So you go to school, you get beat up or made fun of. Then you go home and you get beat up or made fun of, right? Or, you know, forced to I would look into it. You are currently experiencing it. What? What are you talking about? Oh, the Saturn return. Yeah, Saturn's in Pisces here, but they're not having their Saturn return here. They have Saturn in the 4th house in Taurus. But Saturn is going through your 2nd house. That's true. Saturn's going through my 2nd house right now also. We have that similar thing going on, and this is where we really have to be responsible with money. We figure out how to manage our resources. I was very licentious, you know, if I can use that word for money. I wasn't as diligent. I need to have I have a small business. I needed to get an accountant. I needed to like file, you know, I have to file sales tax. Even if I don't make any sales tax, I have to file every quarter. You know, this is stuff that I'm not very good at, but with Saturn going through our 2nd house, it forces us to learn to manage these things. You see, so it's not very fun, but it can help us learn to manage our resources. And if we have a small business, it can either make or break us, you know, because we have to learn these skills. And life for you, bit by bit, is going to be about taking responsibility for things. 12th house synastry because your ex has Venus in Pisces. Well, the thing about 12th house synastry is when people have things that are a 12th house, it feels like they're intruding on our secret spaces, you know? It feels like they're intruding on our secret place. We don't want them to see all that stuff. Like, get out of there. I hide that from people. And that can be very uncomfortable, or it can be healing. So there's different ways to look at it. Or different ways for it to manifest, rather. You have Venus trine Mars. I bet you're very sexual. I've been hiding that I'm sexual. That's Meg Myers. It's a Meg Myers song. Meg Myers. Meg Myers. Saturn speaking. Well, and for you too, the eclipses were going back between your 4th and 10th house. So 2022, you probably had some big moves and some big career changes. I mean, you could have quit a job. You could have started a new one, or you could have just noticed you were going in the wrong direction. For me, I quit a job at 20 years when I had this. And I moved to Colorado. So I'm not saying anything that dramatic happened to you, but it could have. And see, now the eclipses are going back between your 3rd and 9th house. So this is all about what you believe and how you communicate that. The 3rd house for me is all about content, but it's also our siblings and that stuff too. So you might find that a sibling, a cousin, or an aunt or uncle has burst back into your life since April, right? Or had issues. And now it's your 9th house. So you're going to be pushed here from this month on until next year, 6 months, on what you believe. And oftentimes we go through a deconstruction of what we hold dear. And that can be quite painful, because oftentimes we get our values from our childhood. And we get these partly from our experience. And when we realize that something we think or did is wrong, we get very defensive, right? Because we identify with all these things. And we have to realize, and I'm the most defensive person of them all. I dare you to say anything about something I've written or said. I'll jump all over you. I'm rotten. Vicious. Vicious. But on that same token, you know, that intensity is something that we need to approach life with. In a measured amount, right? But it's that sense of intensity that forces us on. You know, and you know something about that with that moon in Leo. You know? And technically the moon is square Mars, which is also very passionate, and it can be a bit aggressive. Right? You might have to apologize later for things. And then Neptune conjunct your ascendant, I make fun of that. I call it the shape of water, because you can either be, see, and it's more constructive, altruistic version or expression, It can be very service oriented. It can adapt. It can adapt itself to situations that it can assist with, right? Because it recognizes a need. It's not trying to be self-aggrandizing or trying to insert itself into. And if it doesn't have that sort of constructive expression, then it is the shape of water. And why do I call it the shape of water? Because water takes the shape of whatever vessel that it's in. And these people are like chameleons. They like to change colors. They don't have a strong sense of self oftentimes. And so they try and be what they think other people want. And when our motive is to get whatever we can for ourselves, what do? We manipulate people. We manipulate situations. You see? When we're adapting to get what we want, we're often manipulating things. It's a question of motive. And most of us have mostly selfish motives, especially me. But it's a lot more useful to be honest with yourself about your selfish motives. And hopefully you have an aim to do better. Or to be more compassionate, right? Or to be of more service, right? And service isn't personal. That's the thing we have to learn about all this astrology stuff, is it's really not personal, you know? So, I mean, yeah, you're mentioning stretching yourself too thin, and you can't give from an empty cup, can you? Can't do it. Ridiculous. And that's a people-pleasing thing with the moon in the 7th house, quite frankly. The moon not too far from the descendant. So, how would you check on the transits? Well, it depends on what application you're using. If you go to astro.com, there, when you select the chart display, you can select with transits. Should see if I can show that on here. I do have to go. I do have to go in just a little bit. Can I show that on here? I don't want to show anything I shouldn't show. Astro. So, am I logged in here? Am I logged in here? I'm not logged in. I'm not logged in. I should do a video about that, though, about how to use astro.com, because I know some people get intimidated. And it's really not that difficult, you know? I guess let me do this quick. Properties. Here we go. There we go. Okay, that's astro.com. I think we could show this for a little bit. And we see the little hamburger thing here. We go to free horoscopes. We go to horoscope drawings and data. We go to extended chart selection. Agree. And we can enter our birth data. Accept. I'm a female. I'm Saturn girl. Hello, Ms. Girl. And clients are calling me Saturn girl now too. I'm just so sick of it. That's what you use. Astro Matrix. Watch out for Astro Matrix. The math is wrong. The math is right. It keeps putting me as a Capricorn rising, and I'm not a Capricorn rising. I am not a Capricorn rising. Their math is off. I'll put in my birthday. My chart is already out there, so it really doesn't matter. Nothing I could do about it now. So it's okay. Yes, you can see this. Country, United States. And La Jolla. La Jolla, San Diego. Okay. And then you click continue, right? And then once you're here, it says chart drawing style. And it says web default style, but we want to see with transits. Or wait, no, that's not that. Natal chart. Natal chart should say with transits. Natal chart and transits. Here we go. Natal chart and transits. You can even select progressions too. We'll do a whole separate thing with progressions at some point. And then we say show the chart. And then you see that, and then we can see my chart with transits. You know? We could see my chart with transits. Oh, look. Oh, look, ads. Wonderful ads. I love it. So, and now you can see all this stuff. You can see I've got all this stuff going through my 10th house, which is lovely. Which is probably why I've been... Anyway, oh, it's in Placidus. Ugh. Placidus. No, not Placidus. Oops. Anyway, you get the idea. You get the idea. Anyway. It's EBK every day, all day to the day I hit my grades. That lope to the brain, cause it's all red rum. A couple hits on her. Anyway. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that stuff even in a song form. So anyway, la-di-da. Do I have any parting things? Well, you're having your Mars return. I have Mars going through my 10th house right now too. Please watch out for fights with bosses. This is a time when you might be inspired to quit your job. So, how long or what? I don't know what you mean. How long or who? Has silent mentored me? I'm an absolute genius. I'm not an absolute genius. I'm just a really rotten person. I am a very not nice person. I'm a not nice. Not easy to get along with. Unless I like you. Then it's, you know, then it's sort of, you know. Now, money stuff. That happens later in life, unfortunately. Any luck with money happens later in life. Jupiter's not happy. Jupiter's not happy. He's retrograde and he's in a sign he doesn't like. You have lost 2 jobs in 7 weeks. Also having Mars return. Well, I mean, specifically Mars in the 10th house gives us problems with authority. We start fighting authority. It's like the Jerry... I don't know how old you all are. You're 2001. You probably don't remember Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire was a movie about a sports agent. And he quits his company one day by freaking out. And having this big blow up. That's what I think of when I think of Mars in the 10th house. You know? But it's also a time, you know, for me, I started making naughty content again. Quite honest. And I need to get back on that. I've made some and I have to post it all. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're 39, you do. Well, 39 is about that time when your second nodal return is going through. Which movie? I forget what I even said. Forgot what I said. Oh, I have a hiatal hernia. Excuse me. Oh. I don't even remember what I said. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just in a terrible mood. What I'm excited and passionate about is my dating life right now. I should have done all this stuff when I was much younger. You know? I don't know why I didn't. I know why I didn't. That was a rhetorical question. It's because I was scared. And I was living as a dude. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. And now it's like, But then, you know, all the woman conditioning also falls in. And it's like the people-pleasing stuff. If you don't want to do something with someone, don't do it. I'm telling this to myself. You know? You love Jerry Maguire. I was just really attracted to Renee Zellweger. You know, I thought she was cute. But I really liked her in Empire Records. Like when she wears the apron with nothing. You know, Renee Zellweger, when she was a kid. You're in the same boat. You're such a late bloomer. Yeah, I mean, I was 38 when I came out. Oh, I'm 40 now, and I'm just doing all the stuff that I want to do. Some people never get to do that stuff. Mine has been a nightmare. Good to hear someone is experiencing good in that area of life. I mean, it's a lot of it's fate. It just happens later in life. For me, I have a lot of retrogrades. Mercury rules my fifth house of romance and is retrograde. Ane is a Leo Mundo. I have some friends who are French, and they say René, René. They have that faulty kind of thing. I can't do it. René. I can just do that part. Marianne. Oh my god. Uh, I'll look because I imagine. We gotta go, Amber. We gotta go. My heart hurts. My heart hurts. I'm anxious now. Ugh. I'm supposed to have a date tomorrow, and I hope. I've been ghosted more times than a fucking haunted house. You know? It's like when you're trans, it's like being Casper the Friendly Ghost. People are like, trans! And then they scatter like roaches. Although I'm finding that a lot of cis women do like me. It's just that they don't say anything because they're shy. And they assume that all trans girls just like men. But I actually mostly prefer women. And I realized I have to go up and start talking. And then they're all interested, you know? And I don't know. And the parties that I'm going to are poly pan party for the most part. So, it's a lot more like no one's really straight, you know? Like none of them are really straight. But it's a lot of fun. I have to hold my own boundaries. I have to hold my own boundaries. And that's important. And we have to respect other people's boundaries, of course. And it's so funny because when we're all teenagers in high school, I noticed, especially in the United States, boys get socialized not to respect boundaries. And girls get socialized to let them not respect boundaries. And we learn all these things. Especially, like the millennial generation was sort of as this was starting to taper off, and a lot of us still had these horrible assumptions, you know. So anyway, I'm really excited about all this stuff, and it is very cool, like I said, and I think it's very liberating in terms of relationships because I was always miserable in monogamy. Now I wouldn't have my daughter, who's the most amazing person in the world, but I'm definitely thankful I get this opportunity now, you know. So, and I hope I don't squander it by being too aggressive. Although I wasn't aggressive the other night. I was just going along with other people. And that's the thing. I want to be, more assertive in these things. I was just like a deer in headlights. And it was a lot of fun. But I ended up letting people sort of just take me here and there that I wasn't all that into. And my friend afterwards, he said, you don't have to play with anyone that you're not attracted to. And I have to remember that. Like, don't fall in for pressure. Just because someone gets in your face, you don't have to go with them. The guy I'm in love with who just left me is bi, and I don't think he is living with bi. The guy I'm in love with who just left me, and I don't think he is living with. Oh, as he truly wants to be. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. A lot of us think that we can't. I've been bi since I was. I knew I was bi and trans by the time I was in kindergarten. You know, I even remember specific moments. And that's one thing people don't understand is we get this stuff very young. And it's oftentimes in our charts. Uranus factors into a lot of it, you know? But it's a very difficult thing to navigate, and it's painful for both sides. People have to deal with it. I used to tell people, and even my ex-partners, oh, that was past life stuff. I think I was a woman in a past life and I still have these tendencies. I don't even necessarily believe in all that anymore. I am who I am, you know. Like Lady Gaga says, I was born this way. So I was born this way. And I'm finding that people are very attracted to me. I never felt attractive before. I didn't. You know. So this is all a wonderful thing and a wonderful experience. And the thing that people have to realize is most of us women have been severely traumatized. And you have to take that into account when you're like having relationships with women. You know, there's always a certain amount of trauma and walls and stuff. I mean, we all have boundaries. Learning how to relate to people in this way. See, most men don't even when men have trauma, like the only thing that matters is their trauma. Oftentimes they're not aware that other people exist. You know? I had one dude just like come up and grab me. You know, I'm like, yo, bro, that's my airway. Hello. So anyway, I'm just saying all this stuff because it's important. We were talking about synastry, and it's really true. We need to learn, especially as women, that boundaries are currency to us. Like we can't let people treat us like that. I have a friend, or had a friend, who was a Marine, and he used to tell me years ago, people treat you like you let them treat you. And women don't think that we can say anything. We just don't think that. We weren't raised that way. We weren't raised to stand up for ourselves. We're raised to be polite. We're raised to be agreeable. We're raised to be ladylike. What the fuck does ladylike even mean? Ladylike means acting in a manner that is acceptable to men. That's what ladylike means. I'm telling you. Thank God I didn't have to do cotillion. Many other people my age did. It's so funny. I think if you were to take a survey of people who knew me growing up, they'd probably all not be surprised. So, one of my first, loves or crushes, or I don't know what you'd say, But we liked each other back in high school and middle school. We're still friends. Wonderful person. And she was not surprised whatsoever. Anyway, we just have to be aware of the socialization thing, And we have to be aware that we get to decide what we're willing to tolerate. That was an epiphany for me. I get to decide what I'm willing to tolerate. No one else. I let people treat me in ways that I'd never let that happen. And I know most 90% of my clients have been through severe trauma. 90% are women. You see? So we have to be aware. And that's the thing. I was watching the Barbie movie and they're catcalling her, right? Now, when I first came out, I was sort of excited to get catcalled once or twice. But as an assault survivor, that's always in the back of our heads. Catcalling is almost like a precursor to what? To violence sometimes, or that's the way it feels to us. it feels like a prelude to violence. And we're always a little anxious, aren't we? Because it could always happen. And it's weird because we have an attraction, especially with those of us with trauma. We have an attraction to danger too. And we put ourselves in circumstances, or we get attracted to guys that aren't safe because it seems hot in the moment, and because our conditioning has made us attracted to that. You know? My mom is not the nicest person. And so I ended up in relationships that were repetitions of that same sort of thing. You know? And we seek out the same patterns until we recognize how stupid they are and that we don't have to play. We don't have to play along. I didn't have to be monogamous, or I don't have to anymore. I don't have to be, I don't have to adhere to any rigid expectation. So anyway, I just think that's important stuff to say. And now Amber and I are going to go, and I'm going to roast her, as she said. And I find as children, parents can put us in situations, and this becomes okay to... That's exactly what I'm saying, Amber. Yeah, you're exactly right. Jaylee says, for me, having my Mars in Scorpio sucks sometimes. Well, I've been with 3 Scorpio Marses, so there's something about y'all. It's often trying my Cancer Venus. I feel like the only thing I run into is guys who just want to, yes, F you like a doll to experience. And then, yeah, that's what happens to me too. That's what happens to me too, sweetheart. Yes. However, I really like this couple. Really do. Really do. And the guy is he's, I don't know, at least right now he's not like that. You know, I just wish more men were like this, you know? I didn't say I didn't love you, Amber. I'm just upset. That's all. I can be mad and still love you. Tell that to my daughter. You know? I'm mad. I'm mad at the situation. I'd like us to fix it and do better next time. But I still love you. I still love you. Get flamed by me. Anyway, yeah, Scorpio Mars party hug. You know, and I just really hope everyone, you know, no one protects us. No one's going to take care of us. And this is the big thing that astrology, I think, teaches us too. That no one is going to take care of you but you in the end. And don't expect anyone to. Now, this is Saturn girl talking, right? Ultimately, we're all alone. Ultimately, we're all alone. And all you have is you. The Buddha said, learn to be your own refuge. Because who else could be your refuge? So the more we learn to be at home in our own sense of being, the more we'll be able to cooperate with things as they are. Because we militate against things as they are. And I always say 99% of life is just fated. It just happens to us. We don't have a choice in the matter. But the 1% is the choices we make. Is the choice where to put our attention. In the end, all we have is our attention. Because where our attention goes, there we go. Right? It's a very sad realization, but no, it's not. It's not a sad realization. It's a very happy one. Because if there only is one life, if we all are interconnected, and if we all do share a common source of divine origin, as we tend to accept, right? Then we're all alone. Then there is only alone, right? All there is aloneness. And ultimately, one is nothing, according to certain traditions. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one, right? So, and I'm not being morbid about this. I'm just saying the only recourse you have in life is exploring your own sense of consciousness, your own inner space. The only thing I preach in terms of spirituality is learn to fix your attention on the sensation of being you. I'm not talking about mental questions. I'm not talking about like, I wonder if I'm this. I wonder if I'm that. Who am I? I'm Frankie. I'm Saturn girl. I'm transgender. I'm a parent. I'm an astrologer. I'm a Mason. I'm, all these things. They all die with your body, unfortunately. So that's where we have to have a little sensitivity, some curiosity, and some will. The will to penetrate into the unknown. And the unknown is your inner space. It's your own sense of consciousness. The fact that you're here. The fact that you're here now. That's the most amazing thing. That's the most mysterious thing. You don't need aliens or Atlantis or secret teachings, right? Or any of these stupid things. Twin flames. You don't need that to explore your inner space. Whence does the sense of I arise? What is that? How peculiar. How peculiar that you have a localized sense of self through thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Isn't that wild? And the only thing you know for sure is what? I'll tell you. You are here. It's the only thing you know for sure. We all have an opportunity to explore that, and most of us never do, and we just pass away, and that's that. And we just go back to dirt and dust and whatever. But we also have an opportunity, if we so wish, to remember ourselves and get to know the nature of this thing, this machine in the world, and what's motivating it. And the machine is out of your control, right? You can't control your thoughts, feelings, or sensations. If you try and suppress them, you'll get sick. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about trying to force yourself into a mold, like a good little yogi, like I thought I had to be for many years in the spiritual community. I had to be like this. I had to meditate every day. I didn't smoke for like 12 years or 10 years or something like that. Life is messy. Development is messy. People are messy. And our expectations don't belong to us. They're acquired in life, aren't they? They're acquired in life through other people and identifications and things that aren't even us in the first place. And we get so rigid and defensive about these things, and they have nothing to do with us, do they? Right? So again, all that I'm hinting at here is learn to see ourselves, not just as this or that or whatever, but to feel the sensation of being here, because that sensation is what we take for granted. And that sensation is the background upon which everything else happens. It is. And you can see that it's so by watching it. All we have to do is learn to look. And over time, that's what lets the light in. Because you can't suppress your stuff. You can't force yourself to change. You won't do it. You won't. I promise you. I'm sure you've tried. So what do? We learn our patterns. We observe ourselves. We learn to look. We learn to fix our attention on being here. Feel the air on our skin, right? the breath exiting our nostrils. Taste our water, taste our food. Chew, right? We're so busy. And it's easy for me to say now that I have a small business, but I had a conventional job for 20 years. And so we're always racing to the next thing, the next thing. Out. We're stuck in our heads, right? Racing towards things that haven't happened yet. Expectations. Expectations are based on the past. They're not real. They're patterns. They're patterns. So, if we want to distance ourselves from our patterns, we have to learn to become an observer. Like Plato said, to become a spectator of time is a cure for meanness of soul. And a spectator observes things rather than getting sucked into them, rather than getting sucked into the drama. And after a while, when we see ourselves enough, then we start thinking, we become less personal. It's more impersonal. We start saying, oh, there she goes again. Those patterns. And even though I'm a nasty person, admittedly so, I would be even worse if I hadn't done this work. Because what happens after enough seeing is you get space between yourself and the behavior or the stuff. And the behavior eventually falls away. Because we see it and we distance ourselves and we get distant from it. See? Again, I hope that's useful stuff, but I felt compelled to say it because it's the one darn thing that I preach in terms of spirituality and all that, because I don't even consider this spirituality. I call it that because that's the way you make it palatable to people. But this is just existence. This is just learning to understand our own existence, because that alone is wild. Like, I'm here. It's wild, isn't it? Anyway, I gotta go. Amber's gonna be pissed at me now. So Amber, I did this to you. I did this other little 45-minute section to punish you. I'm kidding. I did not. But anyway, I love you all very much and thank you. Like the stream, please. I really do appreciate it. I'm just in a very bad mood. This really didn't go well. So, I love you.